Did you know that the oldest video game was created in 1958 at Brookhaven National Laboratory? It was called Tennis for Two and was a pioneer for the 1972 Atari video game hit Pong. You're listening to the Xbox Hub Podcast, the official podcast of the TheXboxHub.com. For all the latest Xbox news, reviews, videos and opinions, make sure you visit TheXboxHub.com. But for now, settle down, get comfy, and open your ears for some podcast delights. Hello, welcome to the Xbox Hub Official Podcast, episode number 20. My name's Gareth Bridie. I'm going to be your host, and on my virtual left is Mr. James Burks. How you doing, James?
Hello, not too bad. Are you alright?
I'm very good, thank you. And on my virtual right is Mr. Richard Dobson.
Hi guys,
Back again for another week.
Welcome back.
Yeah, have
two
you done?
in a row?
Have you done two in a row yet?
No, not yet. This is the first time.
This is episode 20. It's a special one as well. We've hit a landmark. It is. You would normally give in a marriage. In the olden days, you'd give China when you're 20. In the modern days, they give platinum.
For the whole country?
Yeah, the whole country. You do.
Extreme.
Before we start babbling away, I'm going to say, if you're listening to this, please subscribe at the end if you're enjoying it. Subscribe to whatever you're listening to. If you're on Apple iPhones like me, everyone else hates him. Please leave a star system and a comment if you want to. Yeah, that's fair enough, isn't it?
Good or bad?
Good or
You
bad?
don't mind?
Don't do the bad. Just leave that to yourself. Don't do the bad. Good. The good one. The bad ones, just say it to yourself in a corner, angrily. What have we been doing this week, you two? Anything fun, James?
Well, it's been Pancake Day. Not a few days ago.
Yeah.
I hope we've had some pancakes to celebrate.
I didn't, but yes.
You didn't?
I don't think I've had a pancake since 1983.
I mean, you definitely do one. Is there no way you can make it like a vegan pancake?
Yeah, I can. I can.
You should
but
try it.
I just don't want to.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
You have one, Richard?
We did. We had several too many.
What did you have on them?
I'm a simple guy. I just had a bit of Nutella on them.
Nutella?
My partner went a bit more extravagant with strawberries and bananas as well as Nutella.
That sounds nice.
This is the kind of hard-hitting games journalism we want on this podcast, which
That's
I like.
what people tune in for.
Feel free to let us know what you've ordered for pancake, yeah? I had peanut butter and jam.
Oh,
Interesting.
yeah.
It was nice. But
Good.
very sickly.
Good.
Too much jam.
Good.
Squirting out everywhere.
Oh, James, please. 6 o'clock. What else have you been doing, James, apart from eating pancakes?
Well, while eating pancakes, I was watching some One Punch Man. It's a anime,
All right.
of course. It's about a guy he's a hero, but he's almost too good of a hero. He can kill someone with one punch.
Okay.
So every battle is really quick. So this makes him quite sad.
Right.
He wants someone to really give him a fight. So that's basically the story of the first season.
Is him looking for a decent fight?
Yeah, like me on FIFA. But yeah, I've been watching that because there's a game coming out this week
Right.
for One Punch Man. This Friday. So I'm looking forward to playing that. Now I remember what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot going on, to be honest with you,
No.
from that discussion.
I presume you've been watching it, Gareth.
It's top of my list.
Getting
One
ready for
Punch
it.
Man. Yeah. I'll be getting onto that. How many episodes are there in the season?
12.
12?
That's not bad. That's not bad for an anime.
For one guy who just punches one punch and that's it, and he's a bit upset.
There's a little bit, yeah, basically, there's a bit more to it, but
Right.
we're not spoiling it. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Richard, what about you?
Well, I've been quite quiet about it since the turn of the year, but I feel like now's the time to announce it on the podcast to the 2 or 3 people that listen every week. But
Yeah.
after winning 3 games on the bounce, I can officially say, once again, I am a Leeds United fan.
Wow.
Ooh.
Wow. Okay.
Season's turned round again, I feel.
Where are they now in the championship? They're in the championship.
They're still in the championship, yeah.
Yeah.
But they're still top 2.
Right.
And 11 games to go. And if you stay top 2 by the end of it, then we're back in the promised land.
And it's been a long time, isn't it?
Has been a long
2002
time.
or something? 2001 maybe?
2004, I think.
Right.
Which is half of my lifetime now.
It's not long enough really, is it?
Do you go and see the games there?
Rarely.
Yeah.
I think I was thinking earlier, the last game I went to was actually away. It was an away match when they played Wolves. So that was when Wolverhampton were in the championships. That's a couple of seasons ago now.
Right.
But yeah, like I say, I've been quiet about it because they've not been doing well. But I feel like I can shout again from the rooftops.
Good. That's good then. Oh,
Yeah,
good.
well, you can.
Yeah. Anything else, Richard? That's caught your attention this week?
I've just been watching a program called Parks and Recreation,
Which I love.
based on a lot of people's feedback saying, "Oh, you should watch this. You should watch this." So yeah, I think I'm halfway through season 4 now. I've just since that new channel launched, that Sky Comedy.
Okay.
Yeah.
They've just been repeating them all, so I've just had it on Series Link and
I've
I've
done
been
the same.
blasting through them.
Are you enjoying it?
Yeah, it's very good.
It's very good.
funny.
Yeah. They're really good.
It's a lot like, for me, it's a lot like Brooklyn Nine-Nine in that I just like all the characters.
Yeah.
And it's a very warm surrounding that I think they present.
I think season 1 of it is so different to the rest of them. It's like they had the characters a little bit all different, and then season 2 they found their feet more than
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, really enjoy it.
Oh,
Very
good.
funny.
Right, you two. I'm going to get straight into because this week I saw a tweet. I'm going to get straight into games. This is what I'm like. This is a new me. And I saw the tweet from Phil Spencer. Is it Phil Spencer?
Yes.
Yes, good.
Yes.
I thought Phil Spencer was a mate of mine back home in Colchester. Got worried then. Phil Spencer, and he tweeted the kind of spec of the new Xbox Series X. And I want to just go through it with you two because I don't understand things like this half the time. And see if you two would understand things. I've got much more faith in the youth of today. So the first thing he says, it's got 12 teraflops. Is that right?
Yeah.
Of GPU performance. Is this good?
Yeah. I mean, it's twice as floppy as the Xbox One X.
Well, it is twice as powerful as the Xbox One X, isn't it?
So did the Xbox One X only have 6 teraflops?
It did, I think.
Yes.
And it's
That's all I know.
and it's more than 8 times the original Xbox One. So this will, I'm reading this, I'm looking down my notes here. This apparently is for processing, graphics power, cutting edge techniques resulting in higher frame rates and more sophisticated gaming worlds.
Yeah. I was just going to say that.
Does it excite you, you two? Do you think this is good? Nothing.
I mean, I have no idea what a teraflop is.
No.
But I did see a picture that sort of helped explain it to me a little bit better.
Okay.
Where they said one Xbox Series X was the equivalent, I think, of about 1,100 GameCubes in terms of teraflop power.
That's good. Okay.
So for someone that has no idea or concept of what a teraflop is, seeing that picture was like, wow, this thing must be pretty powerful then.
Yeah. Well, the Xbox One X is really a powerful console, isn't it? But I don't think it's probably hasn't been used to the limits yet, has it? Before the new one comes in. And
Right,
I think that was what some of the people were sort of feedbacking, going, this doesn't mean anything if you don't use it. But then they're going to want to use it, aren't they?
It's setting it up for
Yeah.
4 or 5 years' time at least.
Okay. James, did you want to say something before I go into the next thing?
No, you covered all the points that I was going to make.
Good.
It's definitely going to have higher frame
Well, I
rates.
know you're going to particularly like this. This is variable rate shading, or VRS. James, thoughts?
Thinking about it. Well, I think it'd be quite good because it'll help the pixels, won't it? I believe.
It will help the poor pixels down on their luck. Help them out.
Exactly. It'll make it more stable.
It is exactly right.
The frame rate.
Yeah.
That's what Phil said.
He does, and high resolution. With no impact on the final image quality.
That's what Phil said verbatim, James.
Yeah.
What's your opinion of it?
Do you like that?
I agree.
He agrees with that. What about you, Richard? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%.
This is the hard-hitting stuff we want. Now, the next bit is hardware-accelerated DirectX ray tracing. Now, there's an interview we're going to hear later for Deliver Us to the Moon, a game I went to see at Y Productions, and they talked about ray tracing. And to be honest, it was the first time I ever heard about ray. On the PC version of Skin, they got ray tracing, and they were talking about it for the Xbox, the new one. They'll probably be able to do that. Have you heard of ray tracing before?
I've heard of tracing. When you put paper over something
Yeah.
and draw around it.
Good.
I don't know what ray tracing is, but probably similar.
Richard?
I think he's mates with Phil Spencer, ray tracing.
They go out together into a bar together on a Wednesday night. Phil Spencer and ray tracing. It's a singles night. Yeah.
I've not come across ray tracing. I think the closest I've come across anything like that is when Skyrim Special Edition came out, and it was sort of highlighting the fact that it had these volumetric god rays, which meant the sun looked better when it was shining through the trees, I think. Yes.
I think it's true to life lighting, isn't it? And sort of accurate reflections and realistic acoustics, so it does all this.
In real time.
Yeah. And more realistic environments, which is I always like that. I'm always a sucker for stuff like that.
Yeah, you can't argue against it, really. It's going to be a good thing.
Yeah, you can be terrible
for the big games.
If you did argue against it. But some people might not want that. But, that's the whole thing. A lot of people want just good games rather than graphics. I love graphics. I love when something looks good. But, other people just want good, solid games. Now, the other bit is this kind of idea of immersion in an instant. And the idea is that you've got, your SSD storage will be improved, so game worlds can be larger, more dynamic. And the big thing here is loading in a flash. Fast travel, that is flash.
See, games still struggle with loading times now.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to see that improve. It's like rugby games that take 5 minutes to load some terrible graphics.
Yeah.
So hopefully that'll
it's like when we had Red Dead, which was, I think, probably the most powerful game on this console.
And GTA.
And GTA, a massive load. But actually, when you're in, aren't you? That's a good thing. It's not loading different screens. It just takes a while to load up.
Mm.
And I think this big thing is a new thing about a kind of resume feature. So it lets you continue, and this is the big thing here, multiplayer games from a suspended state almost instantly.
But don't we have that already?
Well,
it doesn't really work very well, does it?
No, if I have FIFA, like we play FIFA, which is the thing, if I just switch the Xbox off and then go back to FIFA, I can't. I have to reload the whole thing.
Because the servers.
Yeah. The
servers. Oh, right, yeah.
So I think maybe this will happen and improve. And I think he explained this week. I think if we do a hard reset as well, maybe I got this wrong. You do a hard reset, you can go back into it after that.
I don't think after a hard reset.
Maybe not a hard reset, just a normal reset.
That seems a bit extreme.
It does, doesn't it? Quick resume.
When it's sleeping. Just have a little nap, you can wake up and go. Right, take me back to where I was.
Yeah.
Or else.
That was the next bit, and the other bit was the 120 frames per second support. I don't know anything about that. But that.
Where do we get now? 60.
At a push.
Some on the Xbox One X, I think some games do 60.
Yeah.
I think, but Halo Master Chief Collection, because I'm only on a regular Xbox One, I think that runs at 60 frames per second on the regular Xbox One as well. And you can notice the difference between 30 frames and 60 frames. But if it goes up to 120 frames per second, at what point do you stop noticing the difference?
Yeah. That's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's the point?
I think
Just
it's
never started it.
pretty future-proofing stuff, isn't it, as well? But
Yeah.
and I think that's the whole thing with the HDMIs as well. They're talking about those being just to allow to the lowest latency and all that stuff, smooth visuals without tearing, and I think that's what they're trying to do with all that stuff of what you plug into the TV, because it's talking about 8K. That's the rumor, it being 8K supports as well.
Yeah.
What it does mean is more money you have to spend.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
Yeah. And also the big other thing was all the next generation of games. So they were talking about 4th generation of gaming, which is be able to play backward compatible Xbox original games, 360, Xbox One.
Which is always welcome.
Yeah. I mean, I never go back, but other people do. Other people love doing that.
Yeah.
Do you two do it?
I have to. Got so many games. Go back to.
Yeah. You still got the original Halo to do.
And Tintin.
Tintin. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Yeah. And this other thing, which is interesting about smart delivery. And that was the idea that if you buy, I don't know, you've got your Halo game. You got your one Halo, the new Halo game. You can put it into your Xbox One, and then you can put it into your new Series X. And I think the idea is that you don't have to have 2 discs. You don't have to have 2 versions of the game. It does the same. It upgrades itself. That's right.
Yeah, it works out what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that'd be good for
Handy.
Game Pass owners as well.
Yes.
Because obviously being a first party game, it's going to launch on that same day.
And that's it, isn't it? It's confirming that, isn't it? That Halo Infinite will be on the launch on the Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
How excited are you two now by that brilliant in-depth report from both? Yeah.
Compared to before you said it. No, indifferent.
So, would you say I've dampened your enthusiasm for the new console?
I'd say not applicable. I have no feelings either way.
Well, hopefully our listeners will feel the same. What about you, Richard?
I'm going to have to agree with James, because I feel it's not for the layman.
Yeah,
like myself, it doesn't really explain much. I mean, obviously, games are going to be bigger. The console's going to be more powerful.
Yeah,
and I'm all right with that. That's all I need to know.
Good. I think you're right, and I think also it's about us seeing stuff, isn't it? We need to see some games, don't we?
See in action.
Yeah, see that in action. And of course, that's all going to come in May time, isn't it? We're going to see all this stuff.
I need to see this ray tracing in action.
Yes, exactly. And that's when everyone's going to get really excited, I think.
Well, don't get your hopes up.
Well, we might not do.
Bit of excitement. Maybe.
It's always good to have something nice and shiny. I've got a mate who just said to me, I always hand my consoles down to him, and he's getting very excited because he's going to get a new console. Yeah. Right, you two, let's go on to our questions, which we do every week. We ask our guests some in-depth questions, and I build a profile of them. At the moment, I've got James as a sort of psychopath, sociopath, and socialite. Richard is too early to call. I think he's a lovely guy, but could be a mass murderer. We'll find out more.
It's always the quiet ones.
It is always the quiet ones. So I've got 3 questions for all of us to answer, and then we've got some would you rathers. So let's start with the first question. If past lives were real, what was your profession in a past life?
Executioner.
Straight in.
Definitely something violent and devious.
Well, they were professional people, not violent and devious.
Well, they are a bit violent.
Well, they have to be a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of executioner were you thinking of in your past? What time period are we thinking you were an executioner?
Like in the 1800s.
All right.
But I do it on my own time. I won't be an official one.
Well,
That's the feeling that I have anyway.
well, that funny you should say. That's what happened a lot of the time in that time. People were volunteering. They weren't. They weren't sometimes official executioners. Someone would be as a carpenter by day and an executioner by on the weekends.
This is why they all wore cowls over their heads, so people didn't know
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
their baker was an executioner.
Yeah.
I've just told everyone it was me.
Nowadays we go paintball on the weekends, but then it was execution. What would you specialise in, James?
What do you mean? What kind of execution?
Yeah.
A head trap.
I don't think we had. So, are you in this country or are you in France?
I could be anywhere. Wherever I can do it.
Your skills required worldwide.
Commuting. Yeah, anywhere. France.
Yeah, anywhere.
Yeah, okay. What about you, Richard?
It's probably what I mentioned before. I feel I would have been a blacksmith in a previous life.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You wanted to be a blacksmith.
Yeah, but I couldn't stand the heat. But I think that would have been an appropriate job for me back in the day. Something I would have enjoyed.
Yeah. Do you know what I think I was? A train driver. I got this feeling. When I play those train driving sims, I feel like I've been there before. I know the controls quite well. I wouldn't have been a good train driver. I would have been pretty bad. Maybe some bad accidents, but I think I was a train driver, maybe in the 1920s.
Could have predicted that, to be fair.
Yeah.
Is the steam trains on that game?
The steam trains, no, there aren't. But I when I sat in that train carriage on Train Sim World, I felt at ease. I felt everything was good.
You just knew.
I just knew I was destined for this. I can do it now. Maybe I can go now. I could go there and say, "Can I do this? I've played Driving Sim World." It must be the same.
Just say it's always in your dream. Like Neil working in Chippy.
Yeah. No one's come forward for Neil working in Chippy.
No. I think once you find out as an adult, they're not interested in letting him have his dream.
No.
I think it's some child.
And question 2, this kind of links on. If I asked you at the age of 5 what you wanted to be when you grew up, what would you have said, Richard?
I would have said I wanted to be an architect.
No. I didn't say that. Wow.
I was forever doodling houses when I was younger. And I have no idea if they looked good or not. But I just remember one in particular. I started off with a fairly standard detached house, and I was just for like a whole school day when I should have been learning. But I was just adding extensions onto this house and more obscure towers and turrets and weird things onto this house. Yeah. Wow. I think I would have wanted to be an architect when I was younger.
And what made you go the other way?
I realised that they probably looked rubbish. I'm one of the worst drawers I know, and I even struggle to keep in the lines, in a colouring book. Yeah, that's not me at all.
There is a game coming out called House Flipper. I think you should get into that, which you can design houses and do all that. I think you should have a go at that, Richard.
Is that more based on interior design, like changing rooms?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, it's something
else, isn't it? Yeah. Architect, I like that. James, what about you?
Probably a banker.
Well, at 5, if I would have said to you, what do you want to be? You would have gone a banker.
I was counting up shopping when I was 3. I'm working out how much things cost. Money is my thing. And numbers.
At 3,
I can believe that.
You were counting up the shopping?
It might have been earlier. But
wow.
Yeah. I used to always work out how much everything was.
Wow.
Good numbers.
What, like it kind of like, so they would, your mum would come in and say, here's the shopping, how much was that? And you'll go £10.50.
No, around the shop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And work it out before you get to the till.
Good. Good.
Exciting times back then.
Yeah.
Good days.
I used to do it this is a while ago when I was younger. When I used to do a shop, I used to go to the till, and whoever was behind me, 2 people behind me, I'd say, if it was like a big shop, I'd say, for this can of beer, you two have guessed, and whoever gets nearer to it wins a can of beer. And that was my fun thing to do.
To the random people?
Yeah, random people, yeah. And they would win a can of beer whoever got nearer.
So that was your fun thing to do?
Yeah, I didn't go out much.
What about when you were 5?
When I was 5. When I was 5, I wanted to be a vet. That's what I wanted to do.
That's nice.
Yeah, I always wanted to be a vet. And I realised I had no skills in any sciences whatsoever.
Did they still have vets back in those days?
Yes, they did have vets back in those days.
It's a while ago, wasn't it?
Blimey. Oh. Right, good. Question number 3. If a UFO landed today, right in the middle, and the first person they see is you, yeah, and they say to you, "Show me something now that sums up our civilization," what would you show them?
K-pop.
K-pop.
Yeah. I've shown them a Blackpink video, a music video. I'd say, this is what we do, and this is what we're good at. If you're expecting more than this, just turn back now.
And that's when the war started. That's when this K-pop. Wow. I'm speechless. Richard?
I don't know. I think anything that symbolises our society is going to send them straight back.
It might not be. There's some good stuff as well.
I don't know. Do they look threatening?
Well, they're just curious at the moment. They're thinking, "Come on, tell us about yourselves. What have you got? What have you done?"
Oh God! I'd probably show them an episode of Love Island. Be like, "This is one of the most popular shows on our TV. Think of it what you will."
So you're just giving them anime. There's so much other stuff. So James on one hand is showing them a K-pop video, and you're showing them Love Island.
I'd be like, honestly, mate, I think you've come at the wrong time.
Wow. Okay.
What about you?
I'd show them our architecture, our parks, our things we've made.
I mean, the architecture that they probably did years ago.
Yes.
Have you seen these pyramids? Yeah, we made them.
Oh my word! Right, K-pop. I'm speechless. K-pop and Love Island are the 2 things we're showing to our alien friends. Kill us all now. Right, James. These are would you rather questions. Quick 3 questions. Would you rather be trapped in a small room with 10,000 tarantulas for 10 minutes, or eat 10 tarantulas in 10 minutes?
Wait, is there another option?
No, that's it.
I'm not playing this game anymore. Probably eat them, if anything.
Eat 10 tarantulas in 10 minutes. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably maul me to death.
Okay. Second one. Would you rather have to dress all in bright orange all the time, all in lime green for the rest of your life?
Orange.
Oh, okay.
So to go around singing songs about tangerines.
How many songs about tangerines do you know?
Probably 1. I can't think of it right now. Wow. I think of more. I'll get back to you.
Good. Okay, next one. Would you rather meet your favourite fictional character or your favourite musician?
Musician.
Oh. Who's your musician? Who's your favourite musician?
It'll be a K-pop one.
Oh, blimey.
So you won't know her.
Okay. Richard, these are yours. If there's anything about Love Island, I'm switching the podcast off.
I'll try to restrict it.
Do it, Richard, do it.
Would you rather slowly walk across red hot coals or put your hand on a hot iron for 10 seconds?
See, this is my worst nightmare. I think you've given me this question on purpose. The hot coals.
Oh, it's a slow walk, though. It's a long way to go. But yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Can't believe he gets heat. I get tarantulas.
Here's the next one. Would you rather have a side of dog treats with every meal or a side of cat food with every meal? Dog treats or cat food?
Dog treats.
Yeah, I'll go for dog treats. They're biscuity. I think I've had a dog
They'll probably
treat.
taste really nice, but it's just the shape of them. You know they're a dog treat and you won't try them.
Would you rather go to the moon or go to Mars?
Mars.
Mars. Why is that? It's
I've seen Total Recall.
she's not going to be there. That special lady. That's all I'm saying.
The moon, then.
Yeah, good. Right. What games have you lot been playing this week? Let's start with James.
2 Point Hospital.
Oh, I'm really... And this has just come out on Game Pass as well, hasn't it?
It has. I've played it for over a week now because I was reviewing it.
Yeah.
But I've non-stop been playing it. It's so addictive. It's if anyone's not played it yet, it's a management simulation where you run a hospital, essentially.
Okay.
But it's done really well on PC, and the anticipation for it coming to Xbox was huge. But we all know what Xbox is like for PC games. Sometimes it can be a bit iffy in the controls department, can't it?
Yeah, it can.
But this one, perfect.
Oh, really? So the kind of
So
UI
intuitive.
thing is really good.
Yeah, absolutely. And the game itself is so much fun. When you're hiring different doctors, curing weird illnesses. Like, there's a pandemic, and people come in with pans on the heads.
Right. God.
So we've got light bulbs for heads. You've got to get rid of light bulbs. There's mime artists. You need to see a psychiatrist.
Right.
It's so creative.
And is it
very
hard?
funny.
Does it get hard, or is it?
It gets very hard.
Yeah, like all sim games do. Get to a point where it becomes okay.
There was one point where I was getting payday loans out to keep the hospital afloat.
Oh God!
And I was having patients dying every day in the corridors. So it wasn't good.
No, that's the worst bit of sim games. Is that when you have to get another loan, and you can just see your balance just going. Oh, it's awful.
And then you get another loan to pay that loan.
Yeah. Oh,
And then putting out fires.
just like real life.
It is. But it's one of those where you don't mind restarting.
Oh, okay.
I happily play a level again and do it a different way. It's not so frustrating that you'll give up.
Okay.
I'd definitely stick with it if you do get stuck.
And is it like Theme Hospital? Is it Theme Hospital, the original? That was the only hospital game I remember playing.
Yeah. People that developed this used to work on Team Hospital.
Oh, okay.
So it's like that, but for the modern era.
Right.
And a lot better. I
Okay.
definitely recommend it.
And how much did you give it in the review?
I give it a 4.5.
Ooh.
But I would have given it a 5
Yeah.
if the update was out. Because the update coming out, which brings multiplayer.
Wow.
So that'll be good when that comes out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, definitely get involved in that.
Yeah,
How are
well,
you?
it's on Game Pass as well. I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
Richard, what have you been playing?
I've been playing another simulation-based game called Townsmen, A Kingdom Rebuilt, which is a little bit like a medieval city simulator. And you're in charge of a little town, a little village set in medieval times, and you just need to build things, keep all the residents happy, hopefully bring more residents in. And then sometimes bandits will come and attack your village, which when I was playing through the tutorial, I thought it was going to be a nice, relaxing sim builder type game. But then, yeah, these bandits turned up and they're like, "You've not got any guard towers. You need to build guard towers." And I was very underprepared for this first wave of tutorial bandits coming through. But they seem to have this weird thing where they don't attack people; they'll just go and set fire to your buildings. I think that's what they're all about. They're all pyromaniacs, Not interested in the people. They're just
No.
interested in setting your buildings on fire.
I've been there. I've been there with the sim games when this has happened. And it's always worrying with the sim game thing when you're playing a tutorial and you're having trouble.
Yeah, doesn't bode well for the rest of it.
Is it like a kind of Age of Empires type thing, or is it just do you progress through time, or is it just this one bit of time?
No, it's just set in the one age,
Okay.
but it has sort of like it has seasons. So as the year progresses, whilst time doesn't necessarily move forward, the look and performance of the buildings will change as the seasons go through.
Okay.
Which is quite interesting. So you can have a farm, a wheat field that obviously in winter doesn't yield any wheat, basically. So they need to get other resources from elsewhere while it's winter and stuff like that. But I mean, it sort of looks a little bit like Age of Empires.
Yeah.
But it's nowhere near focused on the combat. At least I don't think so. Maybe when I go into the main game and it's just bandits everywhere, it might. But you don't really build. You build a barracks, but you don't necessarily then need to build an army.
Right. Okay. Okay. You liking it?
I am enjoying it. It's quite slow.
Yeah.
None of the workers seem to be in a hurry to do anything. so if you put down a plot to build something, you'll need to drag a worker from elsewhere, and they'll walk over to this plot, spin around and change their clothing, and then they'll go back to where they needed to be originally to pick up all the resources and then bring it back over.
Can you fast forward time?
You can do,
Right.
but even then, it does take a while before anything gets done.
Oh wow!
But I think that's one of the reasons why is you can increase and decrease taxes that they pay, and the more taxes that you put on your residents, the less productive they are.
Right. Oh, I see. Okay, that's quite good.
So maybe if I lower taxes, they'll
Always lower the taxes.
perform better.
Yeah. Get yourself a loan. Can you get a loan?
No.
Oh.
But interesting. There is a guy that keeps coming up in your tutorials, like, I know a secret about you, and if you don't give me money, then I'm going to reveal your secret.
Oh, really?
And you have to provide him money. Yeah. So there is a bit of a story as well.
Oh, that's good. Is it full price? Is it, or is it?
I think it's around £20. I'm not
Okay.
100% sure
Right.
though. But it's reasonably priced for what it is, because there's a lot after the tutorial. There's a lot of scenarios as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's an endless mode as well, I think.
Wow. Okay. I look forward to reading a review of that. Good. I've been playing a game called Infliction, the extended cut. Cut, as in horror cut. You know, that's the way it says. And Infliction is this game that was on PC, and it's like a first-person horror game. And you basically wake up. You drive back to your house. You've got a nice little house in the suburbs. You go in. You're looking around the house. You're looking at picking things up. You're checking memories, and suddenly you are in a kind of nightmare dream where your wife has died, been killed. Have you killed her? You're haunted by the ghost of her, and then you try to escape the house, and then you crash your car. Right, this is the first bit without trying to give anything away, and straight away you're back in the house, in the same place, and then it's I think PT on the PS4, which was the little demo thing for a Silent Hill. It's that kind of thing of keep returning to the same space, but things changed. Things will change if you do a certain number of events. So if you go back to this one point, you'll wander around the house, but you have to pick up different things, unlock different bits of the stories, go through different areas. You might find a mirror that you look into, and suddenly you're into another world, for example. And that will move you on the next time. You keep dying and going back, and keep trying to work out what happened in this story. That makes sense?
Yep.
Yeah. And it's really, really good. And I play a lot of horror games, so I'm quite used to them. But this one is absolutely petrifying. Whenever you see it up close, and they're really clever at not making it. When you see them up close, sometimes you go, oh, but the sound is brilliant, and it absolutely scares the life out of you sometimes. Especially when when you wake up somewhere, you've probably got about 5 minutes or something of exploring before the ghost creature starts to follow you in and then kill you. So you know you're up against a time limit, and it's terrifying. And it has that kind of like, that Japanese kind of Ring horror feel to it.
Mm.
When suddenly they're there in the shadows and they suddenly quickly run towards you. It scared me. And it's got a great story and a great kind of payoff at the end as well. It's really, really clever. So it's really enjoyable. I did a Let's Play.
I watched that.
I watched about 2 minutes of it.
But actually, the first 20 minutes is quite fun because it's just me around a house putting things on.
I'd buy the first part of it. I enjoyed watching looking at magazines and watching telly.
I watched the telly, and there's this brilliant sort of like a bad Italian sort of cooking program. This guy's doing an accent that's terrible. But he's really good though. There's something really enjoyable about it, and that's got a great payoff at the end as well. And then it all kicks off, and then you're literally in hell. But yeah, it's really good. I'd really recommend it. I've got to do a review for it. It should be out soon.
Well, if they watch the video, they get a good idea of it, won't they?
Yeah.
On the official TheXboxHub YouTube.
I think it's hard. It is hard. You have to kind of really examine things in detail every time and try to do it.
Yeah.
And there are bits a bit later on it gets really hard trying to avoid ghosts and stuff. But it's for horror fans and kind of exploration fans. I think it's a must try. There we go. That's what we've been playing. What's been going on this week? News. It's getting a little bit busier, isn't it? I think there's more stories coming out. I think things being announced. Anything that's caught your eye?
Nothing quite as exciting as teraflops.
Yeah. No.
But there's games with gold. I got announced this week.
Yeah. What's coming out?
On the 1st of March, you can get Batman, the Telltale series. The Enemy Within.
Is that the second
second series?
I haven't finished that, so that's good. Yeah, good.
That is well worth playing.
I think
on its own even.
I did 3 episodes, so that's good. I can get that done.
Yeah, it throws so many characters in there that everyone will recognise.
Yeah.
It's much better than the first season. So yeah, definitely play that, everyone. And then there's Shanty, Half Junior Hero. That's on the 16th of March.
Good.
I've not played that one, but I hear it's very good.
Yeah.
Sonic Generations on the Xbox 360.
Good.
And Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2.
Oh, that was good. I like that game.
I think Batman's a standout now.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about Sonic Generations.
It's very good.
Oh,
yeah, I did.
A fan.
As I think it was for the 20th anniversary of Sonic, but it sort of did this weird thing where it put classic Sonic and modern Sonic in the same game for the first time.
And the 3D Sonic.
Yeah. So where typically classic Sonic would have 2 stages per level, or 2 acts. The first act in Sonic Generations is your classic Sonic level 2D platformer, and then your modern level, which is the second one, is like a 3D one. But it just works really well, I thought, and I think it even has the original Sonic the Hedgehog hidden in there as a mini game as well.
Oh. Okay.
I really enjoyed that one.
Good.
Uh-huh.
Good.
We want to go back in time.
Yeah.
Give it a go.
Yeah. Anything for Richard you caught your eye?
We mentioned it earlier with the Halo Infinite.
Yeah.
Getting an Xbox Series X upgrade. Well, CD Projekt Red came out and said that Cyberpunk's going to get the same treatment as well. So those that buy it for the Xbox One won't need to worry about upgrading when the time comes to the new console. Which, for the game that's this anticipated, I think is a really good move, because they could quite easily sell 2 copies to everyone and get away with it.
The only worry here is that I'm going to say, and I think that's about where I would come from. I would consider waiting from that September release till the new console comes out before I get it.
And play its best version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that would be, especially with that game, especially with the rumours that have come out about it not performing very well on the Xbox One and PS4, that's the only thing I would think. Should I wait for Can I wait for 2 months or a month and a half, and then get it then? If it's going to upgrade straight away,
Yeah, that's the point. Because I think they did say as well that they're bringing multiplayer out for it at some point as well.
Yeah.
So I believe. I don't know when that would be, but potentially that could be just for the Xbox Series X then.
Yeah, that's my feeling. I think maybe most people have all been thinking this, even back when it was back in April for the launch, about will it come? That's the game they want.
Yeah.
To be the best. It can look, I suppose, if it's going to upgrade that way. I think I might wait. It's hard, all this. It's always a hard time.
It is.
It's a really weird time because what's. I know both. You can play on both, and it's fine. But it will look better, won't it? Will it look better? I'm guessing.
You would assume so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think this whole which version do I get it on now was such a problem for previous generations, but now that there's such a tendency for bringing a game out on a new console, you'd be able to confidently guess in the next 2 or 3 years what games are going to get another release on the Xbox Series X, even with this whole thing of, well, if you buy it on one, you've got it on both sort of thing. But there's going to be games that'll demand a second or third purchase.
Yeah.
Like an Ultimate Edition. Like a one better edition.
I suppose
you can whack the price tag on.
But I suppose in one sense we've had it already, haven't we? With the Xbox One and the Xbox One X.
Yeah.
We've had that, haven't we, I suppose, because I gave my Xbox One to a mate, and I've got an Xbox One X, and I went around his house and he had Red Dead, which I gave him as well, Red Dead 2. And he had it playing on his thing, and I was like, oh God, there is a difference. There is a big difference to how it looks and how it plays a little bit on my one. That I could see. Doesn't matter for him, he's still enjoying himself because he's never played it on this one. So it's just about whether you want it, just that extra bit, I don't know, just those.
And that ray tracing.
That ray tracing, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'd be interested to see a bit more about that when it comes out, So at the moment, are they saying that the game that comes out in September, on November the 11th, when the new console comes out, I'm giving it a date I've made up in my head. I don't know anything that no one else knows. And then that comes out, you could play that disc, and it would be able to play it in the Xbox Series X. Is that the idea?
This is the thing I'm worried about, because it doesn't necessarily say disc.
Okay.
So I'm thinking it might only be digital copies.
Okay.
Because with Halo Infinite being on Game Pass, that's a simple transition if it's going to be digitally, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I see. Well, we'll know more. We'll get to know more.
Unless it's just going to be a software update like The Witcher had for the Xbox One X and stuff like that.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty more likely.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, we'll know more soon. And did you have anything else, Richard?
Yeah, there was one more thing that I guess was a minor piece of news, but it introduced me to a new concept that I wasn't familiar with before. So Rainbow Six Siege, I think it's been around 4 years now, something like that.
Yeah.
And they're discussing the thought of going free to play down the line. But their big concern was they wanted to go free to play, but the real threat to that was this thing called smurfing. I don't know if you guys have heard of
Yeah.
smurfing before.
Tell me what
Yeah.
Smurfing is.
Smurfing is where a really good player on Rainbow Six Siege hears that the game is going free to play and sort of creates a new account and starts from the very beginning.
Oh,
And then we'll just absolutely,
Annihilate everyone.
to coin an old term, poon some noobs.
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't know there was a name for this at
No.
all. But yeah, smurfing.
Smurfing. Okay. Wow. So it's had quite a life, this game, isn't it?
Yeah, it has.
And it's very popular, isn't it?
It's a great game.
Yeah, it's good. We played it with our little group, and I didn't get on with it really. Quite,
Yeah,
but I
there's
liked
too
it.
much thought in it. wasn't
Too
there?
much thought for me. Yeah, I have to go back to it again. But it feels like it is there for a long time. It feels like one of these games like that, Rocket League. You know, it feels like these games just have a life that just carries on, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like Rainbow Six Vegas used to be.
Yeah.
That lasted for years, didn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
Some-
All right, good. Now, in the last 2 episodes, we have heard from people I interviewed at the Wired Showcase a couple of weeks ago. We had the Falconeer last week, and we had what was the first game I called?
Those Who Remain.
Those Who Remain. Thank you very much, James. And this year, I had the sort of pleasure to play a game called Deliver Us to the Moon, and let's hear about it now. So I've just been playing the first-person adventure game, Deliver Us to the Moon. Good.
Yeah.
And I'm here with
Al Hibbard.
And Al, what's your connection with the game?
So I'm product manager for Wired Productions, who are publishing the game on PC and console.
So I've had a go. It's been really interesting, intriguing. Pitch us the game.
So Deliver Us the Moon is a sci-fi adventure game. If you've kind of grown up watching Interstellar and 2001: A Space Odyssey, those great cinematic astronaut experiences, then Deliver Us the Moon is for you. It's very much bringing that into the video game space.
And it's got a kind of interesting history about about the development behind this. Can you tell us a bit about it?
Yeah, so the game's been developed by the great team at Kayakan Interactive, and 2 of their founders are actually brothers, and they were inspired by their grandfather, who used to build telescopes for observatories. He used to kind of come and wake them up in the middle of the night and take them out to look at passing comets and shooting stars. So they never made it as astronauts, but they wanted to carry that fascination with space through, and they decided to make a game.
So what's the setup of the story where you start?
So the game is set in the future on Earth. It's 40 years into the future. The Earth has been depleted of resources, and humanity has actually looked to the stars for a new source of energy. So they've established a base on the moon to mine a real element called helium-3, and actually transport that back to Earth. Due to circumstances unknown, that moon base gets cut off, no communications, and you as Earth's last astronaut are going to the moon to try and establish what has happened and also re-establish the supply of energy to Earth.
So if you described it as, is it a first-person action puzzler? Is it a first-person combat? Is it how would you describe it?
I would say it's first-person action adventure game. There's no combat within the game. There are numerous puzzles, and there are times where you will have to think fast in order to survive and progress through the story.
And you get to do some space stuff, don't you? Which is what they wanted the developers to that intrigue. Tell us a bit about things.
I think the developers, when they were creating the game, I think they had the big space tick list in front of them in terms of cool experiences that they wanted to bring to a game. So they you do everything from launching a rocket to driving a moon buggy round to spacewalks, fully floating in space outside of a space station. You have a little drone companion called ASC, which you can use to actually access different areas around the moon. There's a lunar monorail to carry you around the moon's surface, and the little Easter eggs hidden out on the moon's surface for you to discover.
And story-wise and research-wise, did the two brothers who kind of come up with the concept, and how was that fleshed out?
Yeah, so the two brothers, Paul and Kuhn, they started the development and back in kind of 2015, 2016, and they've really led the narrative development for the game. Very much focused on those big cinema experiences that I mentioned, and wanting to have a narrative which had urgency to it, and that you felt the kind of the weight of that as you played through the game, and that's kind of doubled down by it's got an awesome Interstellar-esque soundtrack as well, which really mounts the atmosphere and the pressure as you play.
With this experience, how long is this experience?
So the full game is 6 to 7 hours in length. As with any of these games, you could probably get through it a little bit quicker, but there's lots of world building, lots of kind of secrets to discover, documents, little collectibles through the game story. So if you really invest in it, I mean, there are Steam players who've spent 15-20 hours on the game really investing themselves in the world building, but we think probably the average player, it's a 6 to 7 hour experience.
And technology-wise, it's been on PC, isn't it? In October, that's right, last year?
Yeah, so it launched on October 10th last year, and we launched a real-time ray tracing patch in December of last year. So it's the first Unreal game to support RTX real-time ray tracing, and it uses the latest gen of DLSS technology as well, so you'll see really buttery smooth frame rate performance on all RTX cards.
And how does that relate to the consoles as well?
So obviously we're confirmed for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One at the moment. There's no RTX support on those. We'd love to bring it to a next gen experience maybe one day, and obviously that opens up with RTX there. Well, not RTX, real-time ray tracing is supported, so it could be interesting.
And when we look at release, possibly?
So we're planning for a springtime release for Deliver Us to the Moon on PS4 and Xbox One.
And what about your pricing for that?
The pricing for that is €24.99, so £19.99.
Great. Why would we play this game? What's your sort of pitch to say? But it's always awful, isn't it?
I would say, I mean, as somebody who's been obsessed with sci-fi since I was about 2 foot high, this is a great sci-fi experience, something that you can really invest yourself in, put your energy into. It's beautiful cinematically. You've got, launching a rocket from Earth and watching the kind of the Earth spin as you ascend through the stratosphere, I think is absolutely incredible. So for visuals and the experience of really being a spaceman, I think for me it's a must-have game.
Sold it beautifully. Brilliant. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Right, there you go. What do you think?
It's very on topic with the ray tracing.
it's very on topic, isn't it? Yeah.
So they almost knew it was going to be announced.
Yes.
I feel like the guy knows you very well as well. He had to remind you of the game title at the beginning of the conversation.
He did straight away. I like the way we said it together in unison.
It was just the podcast. He must know.
Yeah, he knows. I can't remember any name or anything. Honestly, I think I really enjoyed playing this one. I enjoyed all three of them, but it was my kind of game. I like the space stuff.
I'm not keen on space stuff in general, but I like puzzles. So when you said you have puzzles, it's piqued my interest a little bit.
Yeah.
But did you actually get to try the puzzles?
Yeah, I did.
What were they like?
I mean, I did the first. I was almost doing the first bit, the first kind of level, really.
Yeah.
Which is to get the thing. So I don't think it would have been. But there were challenges, some of them, but they weren't. They weren't mind-bogglingly challenging. Actually, I was having sort of trouble actually doing all the buttons in the spacecraft to get it launched. It was like, God, there's a lot going on. And when you're doing it, you're playing it, and you've got a developer over your shoulder. It's kind of like you're looking at going.
Daunting.
Yeah, you don't want to look like an idiot. But I was an idiot. That's fine. And yeah, I did. There was something about it I really liked. I really liked the world. I really liked how it looked. I was intrigued by the story. Yeah, it's. And I think they did. He say he said he's coming soon. I think, isn't it? Soon.
Spring.
Spring.
Yeah.
Give me anything spring. But yeah. Yeah, it's good. I recommend all three of those. But thank you to Wild Showcase. Really enjoyed all those games, and that's the end of that. That's our little series done.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Let's get a new one.
I know. Before we go, let's just talk about a little feature we like to do sometimes every week, and let's just talk about soundtracks. I've been reminded lately because I've got Spotify, and Spotify just plays things. They recommend when you get Spotify, they say to you, "Here's some music that we recommend you might like," and my recommended list recently was just loads of game soundtracks. And I thought maybe 5 or 6 years ago that would have been the case, but now I do love. We play a lot of games. We review them.
Yeah.
We listen to a lot of great soundtracks on games have become, integral now. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the experience. Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
and they are things that you listen to. People will download or people will buy, and it will become. There's special editions of things on vinyl, and that people, and they employ huge names now to do the soundtrack for their games, or they've become huge because of soundtrack for games. What's your favourite, Richard? Anything that you like the sound of?
I think just in general that soundtracks to games, and like you say, I've been listening to quite a few on Spotify recently because there just seems to have been this massive influx of developers and publishers putting soundtracks on there, it seems. But yeah, for me, soundtracks have been a lot of the main reason that I've gamed a lot of the time. So I remember first playing Final Fantasy VII and just being absolutely blown away by this soundtrack, and this sort of kicked off this whole love affair that I have of game soundtracks, and since then I've been down to London a couple of times to the Royal Albert Hall and seen the Final Fantasy Distant Worlds where they play the music from the series performed live. And yeah, I'm the guy that has all the CDs and the vinyls of soundtracks.
And is it when you go to the live events, because they've become huge? Are they do things like in the Royal Albert Hall in London, don't they?
Yeah, I've been there 3 times now to the Royal Albert Hall to see video game music performed there.
And is it packed, Richard? Is it busy?
Yeah, the tickets go on sale, and they're usually gone within an hour nowadays. But you see it on radio stations as well now. The likes of Scala Radio, they have a video game segment every week. Is it Six Music? Have they just done one, or is it Radio 4?
Yeah,
one of those have just started a weekly video game thing as well.
Well, Classic FM that was their big thing. They suddenly there's a composer called Jessica Curry.
Yes,
she did Dear Esther with their team, and then did Everyone Goes to Rapture. Is that right?
Yeah.
And now their company, their games company, I think it's one of the Xbox companies that they bought. And I can't remember the name of the company, but that's no surprise. And Jessica Curry did these 2 games, and her soundtrack was just stunning, brilliant. And it's kind of made her this huge star. And she basically has been a champion of, composing for video games. And I think she has radio programs on Classic FM, and I think her album became like number 1 in the charts, on the classical charts, but it wasn't recognised because it was a video game. And I think she's changed the whole way, people listen to soundtracks now. They used to sort of like go, it's a video game soundtrack, it would be rubbish, but actually it's become probably for people who don't play the games or listen to the soundtrack. It's really interesting, I think. And she, again, like you said, would get concerts and, do the Royal Albert Hall and fill it out. It's amazing. It's a kind of an amazing, things, and it's things that we can you probably might have some that you have in your head that you hum along to.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
What about you, James? Is there anything that you can remember that you really like the sound of?
See, I'm more of a simple man with soundtracks.
Yeah.
The orchestral kind of music, I could take or leave it,
Yeah.
but I think it was when I was playing, the Telltale Guardians of the Galaxy series.
Yes.
Now, we know in the films, the music's a massive part, isn't it?
Yeah.
Of telling the story. And they tried to do that with the game as well. And they've chosen some cracking songs, like a bit of Queen, but when there's something really frantic going on. It was Queen's Stone Cold Crazy.
Oh, yeah.
It just really fit the tone of this scene. And then the next minute it would have been A Love in Your Heart, and it was a really emotional scene. And I like that, when it really matches up with the scene. That does it for me.
Yeah.
But it's amazing what they got on that one soundtrack. I think there's Hall & Oates, Buzzcocks, and proper classics.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, the big thing used to be, didn't it? With the big thing when you used to get a GTA game. Sort of back originally, you'd just go, "What is the soundtrack?" That was one of the first one. You went, "What have they got?" And it was amazing that you'd have this huge library of kind of music that you're just driving around to and playing the game to. That you'd pick your favourites. Almost. You couldn't do a playlist. Could you do a playlist in GTA 5 or create your own playlist from what they've got? Could you do that?
Not sure.
No.
You could do it on Forza Horizon.
Yes. Okay.
You could do a Spotify one, which was quite handy. But it had loads of good tracks on that already anyway.
Yeah.
Some pop music and classical. Even FIFA. Let's be honest, the FIFA soundtrack. We're never sure, are we, on day one? But after a few months, the songs are so catchy, aren't they?
And also another thing about
You
FIFA
can't
soundtracks is they get them really early on. So they get that bit of music, and then 8 months down the line, you'll be watching a film or a TV program, and you'll suddenly go, "What's that track?" And you realise it's been on FIFA for the last 8 months.
Or a Coca-Cola advert or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, more about proper songs, me.
Yes, that's fair enough. I think one of the big. I really like the Last of Us soundtrack. And do you remember E3, the last one the PlayStation were attending, not the one before the one before? That's how they launched their thing by that guy playing
That was really cool, actually.
The guitar, didn't they? That composer. They probably he's the name they got. He's the name. He's along with the developers. Yeah, it's interesting, and it'd be interesting to see if more film. Well, they're already doing more film maker composers go over, and what that combination is like.
It's definitely happening now. So as we discussed last week, I mean, Hans Zimmer's done video game music. Bear McCreary.
Oh yeah,
he did the God of War soundtrack a couple of years ago as well, and even people like Michael Giacchino, he started composing video game music before he got taken to do Lost and Mission Impossible and everything like that.
Wow. And of course, we can never forget Paul McCartney in Destiny.
Well, Destiny 2 seemed to have forgotten about it.
I've definitely forgotten about it.
Is it me, or did it used to be a thing where everyone's dancing to it at some point at the end or something in Destiny? Have I made that up?
In Destiny 2, they put his music hidden away in somewhere that had just collapsed in on itself. And I think people used to go and visit that from that spot.
Wow. Right, thank you very much, gentlemen. That was good. Now, before we go, because we've got to go, we're running out of time, we're going to talk about what we're looking forward to next week. There's not a lot going on at the moment. What have you got, Richard?
4th of March, I believe that's the correct date. The new Division 2 DLC is out.
Oh.
And yeah, as I said last week as well, I've been playing through it again, and I'm really looking forward to that. Sort of going back into this New York City, but in the first division it was set in winter, Division 2, I think, set 8 or 9 months later, so it'll be interesting to see just how much has changed in that New York City.
We've got to do it. We've got to get ourselves together, James. We've got
I know.
to get back. Good.
I've got to carry you.
You've got to carry me, yeah. What, anything you got, James? There isn't much out, is there, next week? It's a weird
Podcast.
podcast, next week. Just sit and wait for that for a week.
Yeah. I'm ready.
The only thing I've got is on the PS4 is the Games of the Month, whatever they're called there, is Shadow of Colossus. The new remastered version is a must play. So anyone who hasn't got that, play it there. You can play it for free. Right, that's it for us. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, James. And
Thank you.
please, when you want to, please subscribe to us. Click on all the buttons. And James, where can I get you on Twitter, James?
At OKGUKO.
Where can I get you, Richard?
On Twitter at Dobbo1912Night.
Good. You can get me on GB Bridie and the Xbox Hub, of course. And we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the official podcast of TheXboxHub.com. You'll be able to find all the notes of this show at www.thexboxhub.com/podcast. You can also check out our social feeds on Instagram and Twitter at The Xbox Hub and search for The Xbox Hub on Facebook.